So I nodded.
Oh.
You can go ahead, JR. Hit music. Facebook's live.
Go ahead and send me something, Alexis, please. There we go. Right now, okay time to vape a little bit? Has anybody watched this week's Succession? No plot spoilers of any kind. I'll just say that there's a product that we carry prominently featured as a plot device in the show. Not just in the background, but like used as part of the plot. And it's pretty cool. I was considering dropping that in since it just happened this week into the show. Yeah, you think they can actually hear me? I was careful not to talk like they talk on Succession right here. This monitor's not on. Or can you? Ready when you are. Hello and welcome everybody to Crutchfield Live, episode number 2. I'm your host, JR, training manager here at Crutchfield, and we are excited to be back. We did this a few weeks ago for the first time with our sort of our new format where it really feels like a like a talk show. We're going to bring in some special guests. We're going to take questions. We're going to answer questions and comments from our adoring fans out there on YouTube and Facebook. We had so much fun doing it the first time, we figured let's do it again. In fact, we're going to try to make this a more regular thing, a feature of Crutchfield, if you will. Our next live date will most likely not be a Friday or a Thursday, but we're going to go for a Monday next time. Monday, November 22nd. That's like, I believe that's the Monday of Thanksgiving week or Black Friday week, whichever one you celebrate. It's that Monday. So it's probably about the middle of the day, right? We'll still go at the same time. Is that true? 1 o'clock? Most likely, yeah. So we like that 1 o'clock time frame. It fits really well with our lunch breaks, and we think it's when you'll enjoy watching. So, so there you go. We would love to take questions and comments today. I'm going to get into our agenda here in a second, so you'll know what we're going to be talking about. But at any point while we're live, if you have a question about either what we're talking about or anything related to Crutchfield, hit us up here in the comments on the YouTube or the Facebook. I'm monitoring the YouTube chat right here. We've got people in the background monitoring Facebook. They'll be feeding me comments, and we'd love to interact and answer any kind of questions you guys might come up with. In fact, we're going to start there. Before we get into our prepared agenda, I want to answer a couple of questions that came in on our Crutchfield community page on YouTube. So youtube.com/Crutchfield. You know that. You're already there. We had 2 questions come in within the last day or two as we posted about going live today. The first one comes from Jose Martinez. Do you guys travel to install speakers or stereos? And the answer is, yeah, but not very far. We have 2 retail stores. They're both located here in Virginia. One is in Charlottesville, one is in Harrisonburg. And if you're within 25 miles or so of those stores, our installers can travel to your home or business and install stuff. And so in that way we do. If you're looking for car stuff, of course, you can bring your car into those stores and get installations done in-house there. But we don't really travel anywhere else. We don't get on planes and go to people's houses and install the stuff we sell from our website, although that'd be cool. I think now that you say that, I think I want to pitch that as my next job here at Crutchfield, is to travel the country installing stuff that got bought from you. That sounds fun. Who else wants that job? Who's my competition? Probably a lot of people at Crutchfield would love to do that, but we don't do that yet. Question number 2 comes from Brad A. Do you barter, buy, or trade? Brad says he has some mint, old school, pristine, works perfectly stuff. He's got some manuals and original receipts. And the answer is yes, kind of. I want to show you how to do that, Brad. If you go to Crutchfield.com and go down to the bottom of the page, you will see, in fact, I'm going to show you here. I'm on Crutchfield.com. I'm going to scroll all the way down, right on the home page, all the way down to the very bottom on the left. You're going to see something that says trade in your old gear. If you click on that, you will see that we have partnered with a company called Second Life. They will evaluate your gear, give you a quote. You send your gear into them, and then they will pay you. And they pay you in Crutchfield gift cards. So just to keep the, paying it forward, if you will. So this is a way to get some value from stuff that you are no longer using yourself. So hopefully you can take advantage of that service. Or maybe you have another way to pass that gear on to another enthusiast. There are, of course, other ways to sell your gear. There's probably websites and stuff for that. But yeah, you can, if you know you're going to be shopping with Crutchfield, go there and trade in your old gear there. So those are the first comments. Let me just see if we've got anything else coming in early on here. Nothing yet there. All right, cool. So here's the deal. Here's what we're doing in today's show. I've got 3 special guests lined up from Crutchfield here. First off, Eric. Eric is a co-host on Crutchfield, the podcast. So him and I work together. We do some training and stuff, and we host the podcast together. If you want to listen to podcasts, by the way, crutchfield.com/podcast. But Eric from the podcast will be a special guest. He'll be sitting right here. We'll be talking about these House of Marley speakers, and we both watched the movie Dune together multiple times this week, and we've got thoughts that we want to share with you. So that's what Eric and I are going to talk about. Then we're going to kick him out, and we'll bring in Dave Delamere from our creative department. He spends a lot of his time either writing about products or setting up products to demonstrate them for our sales advisors, tech support. Whoever's in that building can get their hands on some gear, listen to some speakers, and we're going to talk about what it's like to do that and what it's like to work with our advisors. And we're going to also talk about using new technology, the convenience and the magic of digital technology, especially music, and somehow combining that with your older, more legacy, more analog gear for your home. So a way to play new digital music on old analog stuff. And then when we're done with Dave, we're going to bring in Chris Baker from our tech support department. He is a team leader. He's going to be helping us understand the world of component speaker installations in cars, which means it's like woofers and separate tweeters and crossovers. It's a next level kind of car audio upgrade where it's going to sound a whole lot better than just doing like a two-way or something, but it presents some installation challenges, and there's lots of things to consider. And Chris has all the answers on that. So if you've got any questions or comments on those topics, House of Marley, Dune, adding old newfangled digital to old gear, the demo days, we're going to get into some Q acoustic speakers that we demonstrated with Dave, and component speakers in cars. Anything on those particular topics, hit us up, and we will try to answer your questions and address your comments right here in the live video. So, without further ado, I think we should bring in our first special guest, a guy who I get to chit chat with all of the time on a daily basis for a regular day job.
That's right.
As well as on Crutchfield the podcast.
Just can't get enough of me.
Just can't get enough of you. That's right. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. I'm a little nervous, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
But that's all right. I'm excited.
Yeah, you're normally not too thrilled about live.
No, I've kind of got a nickname I've earned around here. I gave it to myself, but they call me Six Take because usually it takes me a lot of tries to get this right.
On a video that's not live, where you
Yeah.
you got prepared material, but
Right.
you don't necessarily deliver it, and you're not a one-take wonder.
Right.
Right. Like some people.
Right. Yeah. Apparently this doesn't work that way.
Nope.
So here we go.
There you go. Whatever's going to come out of your mouth, it's going out.
That's it.
So
Can't take it back.
So there you go. I just want to check real technical issue quick with you guys real quick. I'm not seeing anything on the chat yet. I want to make sure I have an updated link. Are you guys seeing something and I'm not? Right, so there's no comments yet. I just wanted to make absolutely sure we weren't missing anybody. I see from Facebook, Rich says he's a huge Crutchfield lover. So right on, Rich, thank you so much for watching. If you got any questions on what we're talking about here, hit us up. All right, why are you here?
That's a great question.
Have you gotten to hear these speakers?
I have. Yeah. We got to demo these together a little while ago.
I knew the answer to that
Yeah,
question.
you did know, but that was for them. So, it's a company, House of Marley. It's a company we're just very excited.
So this is a segment, we'll call it What's New at Crutchfield.
Yeah.
And we've actually had them for a few months now. So they're not like brand new this week or anything, but
No.
they're pretty new. They're new as a company, new as a brand, new on the scene, and they're called House of Marley.
That's right. Right. And it's a company that works really close with the Marley family.
Yeah.
Right. It's not just a name. They're aligned with the Marley family, and they're making some really cool products that kind of have an interesting niche here at Crutchfield. They're very well. First off, they're fairly affordable compared to some of the products we carry. To be fair, right? They are priced kind of for everybody, I think. And
I mean, if you're associating a product with Bob Marley and Bob Marley's legacy and his family, it's not going to be an elitist sort of a thing. This is not for the one percenters, right? This is really an everyman sort of line of products.
yeah, I think so. I really think that's what they're going with, especially with that pricing. But also very environmentally conscious.
Yep.
Like more so than I think just about any other company we've dealt with up to this point, which really aligns itself with some of the things we do. With our like environmentally friendly peanuts.
Indeed.
And we were going to bring some here. Did
Oh
we
man,
forget?
we forgot to grab a handful. If somebody wants to go grab a handful from where they are and bring them, we'll show them off. The House of Marley as a company, they've partnered with One Tree Planted, which helps with global reforestation. In fact,
Right.
if you go to houseofmarley.com, you'll see that they right at the top. They're at, one of the first things you'll see is they're currently planting trees in the Amazon rainforest. So it's not just lip service; it's a real thing. Bob Marley would have insisted on something like that, giving back to the earth, and sort of following in Bob's sort of,
And his legacy.
in fact, if you go here, it's respect for Bob, respect for the earth, respect for each other.
Right.
That's sort of their tagline. They're also working with the Surfrider Foundation to help preserve our world's oceans.
Yeah.
So ocean preservation, global reforestation. With those two, they partner. They actually make donations from the profits from their products.
Yeah, let's be honest. I mean, the stuff that we carry here at Crutchfield, a lot of times it's made with plastic and things like that, and they're finding ways to use different materials that are either recycled materials or recyclable or sustainable. So
the front of these speakers are bamboo.
looks good too.
The back is bamboo.
Right.
Here we go. These are the peanuts.
I know you haven't had lunch yet, so
I think our lawyers get mad when
No,
I
you're
eat
not allowed to
these.
eat them,
These are not technically something you should eat.
but you could, but we're not going
I
to.
shouldn't. I
No.
shouldn't.
No,
There we
no.
go. But we do
It
make our
probably
own.
wouldn't kill you if you did.
No, that's correct.
Technically speaking.
They're not made in a food safe location,
That's
but they
right.
are made here in our warehouse. We get instead of a huge truckload of pre-made like styrofoam peanuts, we get a huge truckload of these tiny little pellets, which is a lot more peanuts in the end because they're put through an extruder that expands them and turns them into the soft, cushiony peanuts that they are. And they're made out of material that will biodegrade quickly. In fact, you can put them in your sink, put some water on them, you can watch them disappear. They're pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And that's something Bill did at great expense from the beginning.
Yeah, we've
but
done that
in
for
the-
years.
In the end, being environmentally friendly turned out to be also very cost effective.
Right. It's great when those things align, and I think they're doing it from a perspective that we haven't really seen within the other gears and other products that we carry. So
Right.
I know a lot of us are really high on this company, and for good reason. We like what they stand for.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Bunch of different products from them. House of Marley Get Together Duo is what you're seeing right here.
Right.
This is a pair of Bluetooth speakers that we have been listening to for the last hour or so.
Right. And actually, you listened to these when we brought everyone in, right? At the beginning
this
of
is actually what was playing
Yeah.
while we were getting set up and ready to go live. This is what you were hearing our new theme music on, which was great music. Did you like that song?
Yeah, it was. Yes, it was great.
Yes, you did.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
That was the band Big. That was my band. I'm the drummer. So there was a really good drumming.
Yeah, I was going to say it was
good song.
really good up until when the drummer seemed like he was. No, it was
band-
fine. It was a good song. It was a good song.
Thebandbig.com in case anybody's curious. But yes, we've been listening to these. They sounded great. They're perfect for like next to a computer monitor, like a desk system. And also one of them is battery powered, so you can unplug it and
Yeah,
take
that's
it
pretty
with you.
neat. Yeah, so you dock
can
these
pass
next to
it
your
around.
computer, and you can pass it around. I think that to have a speaker that can serve two purposes, right? That's another another way to be kind of environmentally friendly. To buy once and have it do two different things. You don't need to buy as much that way.
Yeah.
So I'm sure everyone's going to love hearing me say that. So
Don't have to buy as much. Wait.
you heard it here
Let's
first.
rethink this whole live thing. So in addition to speakers like this, there's some also very portable Bluetooth speakers. There are lots of headphones to choose from. There's buds, in-ear buds.
Right.
There are over-the-ear headphones,
Yeah.
noise-canceling headphones.
They're actually going to get us a free sample of, I think it was one of their portable speakers for the folks that went to the training.
That's pretty smart.
Yeah.
At a lot of companies, when they do come in for vendor training, they will give us free samples of their product in an effort to kind of get us hooked.
Yeah, and for those companies that are out there listening in, we appreciate that.
We strongly
It works.
endorse this
It works.
behavior. Yes.
Absolutely.
They have some noise canceling headphones. All their headphones are wireless Bluetooth headphones, at least the ones that we carry. There may be some other House of Marley products that we are not carrying, but everything we've got is pretty great. And I don't know if you're noticing these prices.
Yeah, the prices are wonderful.
Very, very reasonable for what you're getting here.
Right. And let's talk a little bit about some of those Easter eggs
yeah.
They do some pretty neat things with their products, kind of as a tribute to Bob Marley. And there's subtle little things like on that stirred up turntable there. I know that you're showing.
Yep.
I believe his birthday.
I'm going to zoom in on this picture of the turntable
There you go.
so that you can see right here on this little badge, you've got the House of Marley logo, says Marley, and then right below that there's some numbers. If you're a Bob Marley fan, you already know what those numbers are. They are indeed his birthday. There's another Easter egg. You want to talk about it while I go find it?
Sure. Yeah. So there is a tribute to the Jamaican flag on any of the mini jack inputs, or I think some of the try those headphones there. And you'll actually see colors. First time I've ever actually seen that on mini jack input, to have the little bands on the headphone jack itself. You can just see it there. Maybe you can see it, but yeah, that's the Jamaican flag
You
colors.
can see the Jamaican flag colors on this
yeah.
little tag on the bag that the headphones come in. And in addition to the one on the baggie, you can get these colors right there on the tip ring sleeve on the sleeves. That's a little touch that is. I mean, that's pretty cool. You're not seeing. I mean, every other headphone jack just looks like a normal headphone jack. They really cared about honoring where Bob Marley comes from.
And actually, right there, you can see one of the another one of the things they're doing. Because they're so environmentally conscious. Most times, you see cables like these, in maybe a little plastic bag. Here, that's actually wrapped with a piece of recycled paper twine. So, again, environmentally friendly.
Yep.
As
when
much
we
as they
opened the
can.
box for these speakers,
Yep.
there was nothing in a plastic bag.
Right.
Nothing at all.
Right.
So yeah, very cool.
And being as as conscious about our oceans as this company is, and how they align their values, that makes sense. Trying to keep plastic out of the landfill. So good for them.
Awesome. We have a comment coming in from Facebook. Robert says, "What's up, Crutchfield? Your business sounds great. Literally, crisp and clarity."
Awesome.
Look at that. We sound good.
Coming across loud and clear.
We know a thing
Nice.
or two about sound, so we probably should sound good on our live, and
Yeah.
it sounds like we are.
That's great.
How cool is
Appreciate
that?
the feedback.
Did you have any other thoughts on House of Marley before we move on to our discussion of the movie Dune?
No, I don't want to get into the weeds on the specs, but when we had a chance to listen to these speakers specifically, one of the things that I will say about these guys, it's a small speaker. It doesn't have a crazy amount of bass. You and I kind of had slightly different opinions, I think, on it, and I think that's okay.
Yeah.
But what I found is, and this is just a pro tip for everyone out there with small speakers, if you push them in a corner or get them up against the wall, the bass increases. It was a much fuller range sound experience, and then I really dug them. So
It's called a proximity effect. You get them closer to the wall, the bass will be amplified by about 3 dB.
Right.
And it made a noticeable difference. The bass got lower, got deeper.
Yeah.
Wasn't quite as tight, but it was more.
Yeah,
And
especially if you were
for
close
speakers
to the
this
speakers.
size, you want a little bit more bass.
Right.
There's no sub out or anything. So with this particular pair of speakers, you kind of get what you get, which is very fine for most people sitting at a desk with a computer. These are significantly above average computer speakers.
agreed. Yeah.
And you can unplug one and take it
Look
with you.
good, sound good. You can feel good about making a purchase that is environmentally conscious, and we're all about it.
All right, let's talk Dune.
Okay, let's do it.
The reason we're going to talk about the movie Dune has nothing to do with the story at all. We did see the movie.
We're probably not the right people for that.
We're not movie reviewers. We're not going to comment on the narrative really, or how much was in part one and what's going to be in the rest of the movies that they haven't even made yet.
Yes.
The books. Have you read the book?
No.
I've not read the book. Have you seen the Dune movie from back in the 80s, the David Lynch version?
I have not.
I saw it when I was 9.
That's a wonderful idea for this segment, right?
Yeah. Yeah, was that you? Did you come up with this? You've been bringing up Dune for the past couple weeks.
Well, I like to look at what's going on in the industry, and what I have noticed is, a lot of the sites that I tune into to kind of gather what's going on in the industry and, what's new in technology. There's been a lot of talk about this movie. A lot of folks in the industry were excited about it.
Yeah.
So
I kept
so I got
hearing
a little excited.
in it, even on the the movie reviews themselves, where they're really talking about the story. Many of them commented that, oh, you shouldn't bother even seeing this movie on your home theater, on your TV at your home. Don't watch it on your computer,
Right.
your tablet, your phone. You need the big screen, the big sound to get everything there is to experience from this movie. And so I think your idea basically was for us to put that to the test.
Yeah, there we go.
And we've got a couple things before we get into the heart of that. A couple comments. One, Mike says, I remember when I was a kid, getting the Crutchfield magazine was like Christmas. We know what that means, man. We are in the same boat. So
Yes.
thanks for watching, Mike. Kenny says, I think he's referring to Dune here. Saw
Okay.
both versions, old and new. So Kenny, if you have any additional thoughts on that, love to hear from you. We will throw it out there. David Lewis on YouTube says, hello, JR. Thank you, David, for watching. And thanks. I think you were here last time, right? Maybe you are the same David. If not, welcome. And if so, welcome back. But we've also got a poll. We would like to do a poll and get your thoughts on this before we get into what we think about the home theater versus the movie theater subject. And that poll is if you've seen the movie Dune, the new one that's out now, right now is an interesting time for that, because you can, right now, up through for the next couple weeks, you can watch it at home if you have HBO Max,
Right.
and you can watch it in movie theaters.
Right.
Right? And once it's gone off of HBO Max, it'll maybe still be in the theaters. And once it's out of the theaters, it won't be on HBO Max for however long.
Right.
So right now, you have the chance to compare and contrast. And we did that.
Yeah.
And I kind of want to know, if you've seen the movie Dune, the new one, did you see it in a movie theater? And was that movie theater IMAX? That's what we saw it in.
Right.
Was it just a regular movie theater? Or did you watch it at home? And if so, were you experiencing it in a home theater or on a TV or some other screen with no surround sound?
Right.
So those are your 4 choices on the poll. I'm interested to know what you guys, how you guys have experienced the movie Dune. For us, we went to our local Charlottesville movie theater and went to the IMAX showing at 1 o'clock on a Monday. I will be submitting an expense report. Bill Crutchfield doesn't know he paid for us to go to the movies yet.
Thanks, Bill.
But he did. He will. And so we did that. We saw Dune in IMAX, and then a couple days later, yesterday, we went to your house and watched it on your home theater.
Right. Right.
So can you talk a little bit about IMAX? Like, why is an IMAX experience better than your typical movie theater, certainly better than a home theater?
Sure.
What makes IMAX so special?
So IMAX is about making that picture just fill your whole field of vision, right? So that's one way to make an individual feel like they're part of that movie, to really experience it, is to just engulf you in picture.
Yeah.
And preferably in sound as well, right? Like
Correct.
that's a huge part of it. That's what we want to talk about here. We sat right in the middle. You got to pick the perfect seats, and it was good for sound. Our field of view was really wide as far as the size of the screen itself.
Yep.
And it was immersive. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
This is the first time I had been to a movie.
I was gonna
in
say,
like 2 years.
It was kind of weird
Yeah.
going to the movies with you, for
Yeah.
one.
Well,
one,
fair.
because we were kind of skipping work. And 2, because you clearly haven't been a moviegoer. I go to the movies once or twice a month easily.
I think the last movie I went to was Lego 2.
Lego
The Lego
2.
the movie, yeah.
Brought your kids, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was a great movie.
This was an adult movie day.
Right.
Rated PG-13.
Right.
Just to be clear.
Yes.
But you clearly didn't. I mean, when we finished the movie, you still had 3/4 of your popcorn and most of your bottle of water.
I did not think the medium was going to be quite that large. I think I have buckets I've gotten from hardware stores that were smaller than this bucket of popcorn.
I
So,
devoured
I
most
overpurchased.
I devoured most of my large popcorn and my soda.
I brought it
which
home
is
to my kids because I felt bad that I went to a movie
probably
without
why
them.
I'm fatter than you. So got you in the movie theater for the first time in a couple years. And what'd you think? What'd you think of the movie experience, watching Dune in the IMAX theater?
Yeah, the experience itself was awesome. First off, it was good just to get out in the world and be able to experience something, in public and whatnot. That was great. But then the movie itself, it's a big movie. And, we watched it on a big screen and made it, I keep on using the word big. That's not in my notes, but I mean, that's what it felt like, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Huge screen, huge sound. The special effects were amazing. And it felt like that was the right place to watch it, to me.
Yeah, sound was ginormous and very, very loud. And
Oh my goodness, so loud.
it's so loud that you started to wonder, is it need to be this loud? And then it would go from some big, loud, explosive type scene to something very subtle, and it would sometimes
Yeah.
do that very quickly, and it would sort of suck in. And in that way, the movie itself is very dynamic.
Right.
It goes from very loud to very soft and back many, many times.
You find yourself leaning forward when they start talking because there's a lot of that quiet dialogue,
Yeah.
right?
So when
and
it's hitting like peak loudness, it is pushing the limits of your ears a little bit.
certainly in this theater it was.
And then when it gets quiet, oh, you can hear pins drop. You can hear
Right.
sand moving. There's lots of sand in Dune, go figure. But you could hear all of those real subtleties, and that's because of just how much power and speakers and sound there is in there. I thought that was fantastic.
Right.
Yeah, we've got some comments coming in. Let's see. Kenny says he saw both versions, old and new. It was a mixed reaction. People who wanted action didn't like it. People who read the book loved it. So there's some general thoughts from Kenny.
I did read that this was trying to be more true to the
yeah.
books. Again, I did not read the books, but I've tried to go back and do a little research after the fact, and it apparently is truer to the books than the original movie was.
Yeah. Robert says he watched Dune at home
Okay.
with a sound bar and bass. I presume some sort of subwoofer that probably goes with your sound bar, and says it was a great sound experience.
There you go.
Yeah, so I'm just glad to hear you didn't watch it with like just your TV speakers,
Yeah.
Robert. So
I think it would have let you down a little bit if that was the case.
yeah, you would have missed stuff for
Definitely,
sure.
definitely.
We also had a comment from Robert, not about Dune. Robert says, my first purchase was Kenwood years ago with the add-on EQ, and I'm still buying Kenwood. Made my last purchase about 1 year ago. Love your tech support. Sweet. You're going to meet one of our tech support technicians here towards the end of this, next after we kick
Yeah,
Eric out
yeah,
when we're
please.
done talking Dune. David Lewis on YouTube says, love your live shows. Not seen the movie. I will soon. Love the old Jurassic Park movie.
Ooh,
That's a
yeah.
classic. We've
Yeah,
seen,
that's a good one.
anybody that's worked at Crutchfield any length of time has seen like 2 or 3 minute scenes of Jurassic
Right.
Park like thousands of times.
I've watched
because
the
it was-
ripples in that water cup like so many times over the years, right? As the T-Rex is approaching.
It's pretty
a great
popular
scene.
home theater demo material. So
great
we've-
subwoofer
we've
demo.
Seen some Jurassic Park. All right, so the IMAX experience was big. It was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I took some notes after the movie on some scenes I wanted to watch when we got to your house.
Yeah, I saw you over there sketching stuff. So I think I wrote one note down, and it was that it was super loud.
It was loud.
that was my notes.
There was a scene where two people are in like kind of like a helicopter thing, and
yeah.
there's lots of noise outside, but then there's also
It's a
lots
dragonfly helicopter.
Yeah, ornithopter, I think is the name.
Okay.
But there's also some subtle stuff going on inside. It was a neat scene because it required both a sort of a big sort of sound field as well as subtle, detailed stuff, kind of at the same time.
Yeah.
And I was very eager to see how your home theater handled that. Before we talk about that, tell us about your home theater.
Yeah, so
what do we have?
I've been here a long time. So, so over the years, I've slowly grown my home theater, and currently, as we were listening to it, I think it would be a let's see, 7.1.2.
Okay,
Because
so
we actually used the
Dolby
those
Atmos.
height speakers as Atmos speakers.
And
in
your
the
height
scene.
speakers aren't in the ceiling above us, which
Correct.
there was times when we kind of wanted that,
yeah.
but they're on your front wall, like above your front left and right speaker.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So a lot of speakers, and it really, that experience makes me want to go back and rearrange some things and
Sure.
try to do it a little bit more in there. But we'll get to that eventually.
Yeah.
Maybe that can be another subject for
So
another day.
plenty of speakers in this significantly smaller than a movie theater room.
Right.
Subwoofer. We had plenty of bass. We had
Yeah.
we turned the sub down at one point.
Big dev tech. Yeah, you helped me kind of tune that because we wanted everything loud, not just the bass.
Right.
And at first we were kind of feeling like it was really just the bass that was overpowering the room. So we tuned that back. I think it's a lot more balanced now. So I appreciate your help with that. But yeah, I've got a big center channel, and I'm a strong believer that the two most important speakers in a home theater setup are the center channel and the subwoofer. Most of the dialogue's coming from that center channel.
That makes
right?
sense. Yep.
And the subwoofer is where you get that impact. And in some cases, depending on the sound, the size of that center channel, could be also where you're getting your warmth. And then all those other speakers, that's the spice. That's the spice. See what I did
You
there?
know.
Yeah.
Kenny knows. Kenny knows what you're doing. Because Kenny just said, I watched it at Regal Cinemas RPX. RPX is Regal Premium Experience, and it's supposed to be even better than IMAX according to Regal Cinemas. I wish we had one of those locally. We do not. We just had the regular old Regal IMAX. Robert wants to know, how many times have you upgraded with the new equipment that keeps coming? Specifically asking about Eric's system.
I've upgraded quite a few times over the years.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm on to my 5th home theater receiver, but it's kind of what we do too, right?
Yeah.
And I was thrilled. I think yesterday, to be completely honest, I think was the first time I ever saw my surround sound receiver light up and say Atmos. And I was kind of excited about that.
Yeah.
Right.
And by the way, to get it to play, we logged into my HBO Max on your Apple TV.
Thank you for that, by the way.
Are you logged out of my HBO Max yet?
I am most certainly not, and I appreciate it.
All right. Well, if I get any alerts from HBO, I'll come over to
deny
your
it.
house and log you out. But through the HBO Max app, through a really good internet connection, and through your router and all of that, we got full-on 4K at Dolby Atmos.
Yeah.
And
So my TV is a 75-inch Sony XBR that's a couple years
Yeah.
old. It's great television, we decided not to put it directly into that because I think it would not have used Atmos coming out of my older model Sony.
Right, yeah, it didn't have the new HBO Max app on the Sony TV. We had to use your Apple TV 4K
Right.
to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's talk about, we talked a lot about the sound. In fact, that scene that I asked you about, where they're in the helicopter-like thing,
Yeah,
and
things are
there's the
breaking
loud
apart.
stuff and the quiet stuff all at the same time. Your home theater did pretty good with that.
Yeah, it did. There was, the energy of the environment around there, and then there's dialogue going in the cabin,
Yeah.
which is a lot quieter.
glass breaking.
There's little, bright sounds like little tings and whatnot going on around you. And then, I don't want to give away too much. We don't want to give away too many spoilers here, but
Nope.
but you know what? There is a part 2, so
Well.
there you have it.
It hasn't been, it's not quite in production yet, but yes.
There should be a part 2.
Hey, we got a
This was
question.
called part 1.
We got a question. I think you are the guy to answer this question. David from YouTube says, I need a good Dolby Atmos AV receiver. I like Yamaha. Please recommend me one.
Ooh, I love Yamaha. I don't have the tools in front of me of our.
You can peer over at my screen.
I mean,
you can
Yamaha's
cheat
a
off
great
my
choice.
paper if you want. But I've got home theater receivers pulled up. I've filtered out everything except for Yamaha.
Right.
And let's see. Do we have a filter on here for Dolby Atmos?
We do.
It's
Under
probably
surround.
right here. Nope, not there. That's multi-room. Under surround. Surround sound formats.
There we
there
go.
it is.
That's the one.
Dolby Atmos. So
about
5
all of
out of our 7 Yamaha receivers have Dolby Atmos.
Yeah, and
And
as
then-
you know, the challenge here, before we even dive into the inventory challenge is really going to show itself here.
Yep.
First, my question would be how many speakers we're looking to fire up, right? How many channels of power do we need? If you're doing a traditional 5.1 and you want to add your 2 channels in your ceiling or as maybe toppers, then 7 channels of power would be adequate, right?
Think of 7 as a minimum for Dolby
For Atmos, that is the absolute minimum.
Yeah.
Typically, we like, for our customers, we would normally recommend an additional 2 channels of power from whatever they think they need today, just to give yourself some flexibility to either add additional speakers or maybe power another zone.
So if you know you want 7 speakers, get a 9-channel
like
receiver
9,
just so
right?
you've got some headroom, some upgradability,
Yeah.
things like that. Makes sense to me. So we've got 5 here. We've got a couple 7.2s, the Yamaha Avantage A2A, A4A, the RV6A. All of these, like you said, are showing as out of stock because there's a lot of people watching movies in their home theaters these days. But actually, I just want to point out real quick that some of these have an ETA on them.
Yeah, so if there's an ETA there and our website's allowing you to do that, pre-order is definitely the way to go.
It is an estimated time of arrival, but
right.
the fact that there's a date at all
Very
means
encouraging.
We're pretty sure they're on their way to us right
Right.
now because Yamaha has told us that. And the ones that say no ETA, we don't know when
Yeah.
theirs are coming in. So if you're interested in getting one, we've got a couple choices.
I do like Avantage. They have a little better warranty. That's their good stuff. That's Yamaha's good stuff. And you know, I've been lucky enough to own an Avantage in the past, and it treated me very, very well. So.
And David did comment back and said he's using all you need 7.2.
You need 7.2? Then actually that, I think one of those Avantage units that were set, I don't see one right now that we have access to that's the 9, but if 7.2 is enough. Of course, with Yamaha, if you ever want to do additional power for another zone, if you decide you want to do that, you've got the music cast that's built in there.
Yep.
So there's more than one way to do that. You don't necessarily need those extra channels of power to do it. But you know, the ones that you're looking at there, I think would be a great solution.
Can't go wrong with any of them as far as quality of Yamaha goes, the functionality, the features. They're pretty great stuff. Is that what you have as a Yamaha?
No, currently I actually have a Denon.
I have a Yamaha. I have a sort of bare bones 5.1 channel. I actually watched Dune at my house last night. So I've seen Dune 3 times now. It was better on 9 channels with a big sub.
Well,
and you have
I'm
a bigger
glad.
TV.
If not, please, I would not want you to tell my wife if that was not the case.
All right, let's talk about the TV because yours is. I only have a 65. You have a 75 inch.
Yeah, we were sitting about 9.5 feet
Yeah,
away. I actually moved my couch a little closer right before the movie. You know, trying to get used to a bigger screen so that I can then move the couch back and get a bigger TV eventually.
And despite how close we were sitting to your 75 inch, it still didn't feel big enough.
I know for a fact that, you know, we had grabbed a bite to eat during the movie, and you know, we were leaning forward to eat, and then we kind of stayed in that position, right?
Yeah.
Like we wanted the screen to be bigger, and granted, that was coming right off of watching it in an IMAX theater.
All right, so what's our final recommendation? Got to see it in the theater. Can you watch it at home theater in your home theater and be okay?
There's definitely advantages to both, right? To get the most immersive experience, usually you're going to need to go to an actual home theater, to a movie theater for that.
Yeah.
I love being able to pause. I love being able to go back in my house and rewind to catch that dialogue that maybe I had missed the first time. Things like that, obviously, that's a nice way to do it. I don't think I'd want to watch this movie if I didn't have additional speakers. You know, soundbar, that might be kind of the entry spot of, you know, good sound bar, you know, with a subwoofer that you can get some of that impactful feeling. Because really, to me, the emotion came from the score of the movie, not necessarily from the, you know, the emotional development of the characters themselves. It really came from the music.
There you go. We're not going to
just
talk
threw that
about
out
the
there.
narrative.
Yeah.
Quick look at the poll results. Not a ton of votes, but everybody that voted said they saw it on their home theater.
Good.
So that's at least it was
Makes
nobody
sense.
watching it on just their TVs with no surround
They
sound
are
of
our
any
customers,
kind.
aren't they?
Yes. And it probably is skewed a little bit by not everybody wanting to go to movie theaters during a pandemic.
Totally get it.
And I totally understand that as well.
Yep.
But there you go. Any parting words before I kick you out and bring Chris in?
Not that I can think of. You know, if I had like 3 more takes, I'd come up with something really clever and funny, though.
Yeah, well, we don't have time for that.
There you go.
We're going to move on. We're going to talk about component speakers with Chris. Can you maybe take these
Yeah.
House of Marley speakers
I'm going to leave
out?
the peanuts, though, in case you get really hungry.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that. So, Eric, thank you for joining me. We're
Thanks.
gonna totally change gears and go from talking home stuff to talking car stuff, and we're gonna bring in Chris from our tech support department. He's been with Crutchfield quite a long time and is a team leader, supervisor, trainer guy in tech support. Do I have your title correct?
Yeah, tech support training supervisor.
Tech
would be
support
the-
training supervisor.
That's the literal title they gave me last year.
Yeah? So is your day filled with training other tech support people? Is that most of what you do?
I do training other tech support folks, helping with manning the operations supervisor line,
So when-
special projects like
So-
we've been working on this week.
So when a customer needs help and the tech support person needs help helping that customer, you're the guy they call.
Right, yeah. And well, actually, the people who the tech support rep calls are people who I, also had a hand in training. I've been doing training here at Crutchfield for about the last 15 years.
Wow.
On top of my regular tech duties, and then it just became a kind of an official thing last year. And there's a position. I have a counterpart in Southwest, Joe.
Joe.
Yeah, Joe's a great guy, really, really bright, really intelligent, and between the two of us, we try to make sure that everybody learns what they need to learn to be able to help people when they call us up or, post online, whatever.
Yeah. So the main reason I wanted you in here today was to talk about component speakers and installing component speakers. And this worked out timing-wise pretty fantastic because just earlier this week, you and Shay, one of the folks from another technician,
Right.
were at our retail store doing an installation in the to make a video.
Right.
I believe we have a little bit of footage of that with me showing them. Is that what you're going to show here, Landon? If you can roll clip, please. Is it going to roll? The install bay here at one of our retail stores. What's going on behind me is Shay from Tech Support and Chris Baker from Tech Support. They're both here doing not only an installation of component speakers, but they're actually teamed up with our video team here to get some shots of it, and we want to put out some videos showing how to install component systems where you have separate tweeters and woofers and crossovers. It's a better speaker system, it's a better upgrade, but it presents some installation challenges, and so we wanted to get some video of exactly how to do that. Keep an eye out on our YouTube channel for these videos, and Chris and I are going to talk about it here on Crutchfield Live. So that was me showing you in the background what we were shooting that day, which is not just you guys doing an installation, but we wanted to actually capture this so that we can help our customers before they buy component systems to sort of understand the issues with installing component systems. And so that video is being made now. It's all shot, right? So now that it's in the hands of the video crew, the same crew manning the cameras and all this stuff here today.
Correct. All these great guys here.
Yeah.
They've been wonderful this week. They've been capturing B-roll actually in multiple installations.
Was this your idea to make a video showing how to install component speakers?
The impetus actually came initially from Shay. We knew we wanted one, and Shay was busy going, hey, you know, we need some really good internal training materials for tweeters and component systems so that everybody can really comprehend and understand them extremely well, so they can do a great job of selling them, great job of supporting them. And so he started working on a PowerPoint about all of that. And as it went along, I went, hey, this is going to be a great video. Let me get the video people involved on this. And the guy back there nodding his head right now is like, yeah, we can do that. Absolutely. So we picked that day, Tuesday, to shoot there in our retail store bay. And so we got one of the folks that works here to volunteer their car to allow us to, you know, rip the front panels out and everything and install a really great set of MTX component speakers in the system and go piece by piece by piece and show exactly how it's done.
Was it MTX or was it Memphis or Hertz? Different.
You're right. I'm sorry. We did MTX. And we've been doing tweeter
You've
installs
done a bunch.
all week.
Yeah.
We started Monday. We did a couple of vehicles Monday. Then we did the one vehicle on Tuesday. Then we did a couple more installs on Wednesday. And a lot of that is we caught B-roll. The fellas came by and shot certain things so that it'll be a demonstration of the 4 or 5 major ways of actually installing, mainly the hard part being the tweeter install portion.
So they're watching the B-roll from our install shot the other day.
Right.
So we're going to show them the stuff we've got here in a second.
Oh, nice. Okay. I didn't realize. Anyway, so
And we're back. Now they can see you.
now they can see me. Okay.
Yes.
So yeah, so we were working, because this is one of the hardest things for most people to do, is to figure out how to put this guy in their vehicle someplace. A lot of times there's a location you can go back to, but the trouble is the aftermarket systems are not manufactured, generally speaking. There's a few dedicated, you know, sets of speakers that we have that are made literally to drop straight back in, but the broad majority of aftermarket component speakers are made where your woofer portion is going to fit pretty much right back in, but then you've got to do some finagling to get the tweeter into the car.
We've always treated tweeters as a custom installation.
Correct.
Right? Because for many years, cars just didn't have tweeter locations. Now more of them do. But even when they do, it's not like you can just take the other tweeter out and pop the new one into that same spot, right? It's not that simple.
Correct, correct. Yeah, the car that we were doing on Tuesday, the video that the guys shot, we were able to demonstrate 2 of the methods that you might go back into the car with. The tweeter was located in the door panel, and there was an existing bracket tweeter assembly. We removed that. Well, literally, Shay did. Shay's basically a top-level installer. He had 17 years of experience at another retailer prior to coming to Crutchfield. He's been here about 14, 15 months now.
Yeah.
He's great. He's a really good installer.
So he's relatively new to
Knows-
Crutchfield, but he's very experienced in the world of installations.
Exactly,
Yeah, nice.
exactly. He wasn't starting on ground level when he got here like a lot of trainees do. He, like I said, he had the impetus for the internal training materials, and I went, I see where this is going. Let's get the video people involved and get them to make a fantastic, public ready type of video.
Yeah, so you, Joe Customer, will be able to keep an eye on our YouTube channel,
Right.
youtube.com/Crutchfield. When this video is finished being compiled, all the different ways to mount tweeters, where you can put crossovers, all these kind of issues are going to be covered. Will it be just one video? Will it be multiple? Do you guys know how that's going to shake out yet?
I believe it's going to be the one video.
One big fat video that's all about component speakers.
Right, components and mounting, the hard part, doing the tweeter
Yeah.
mounting.
So turn notifications on, subscribe, all that stuff. Then you'll know when that video is coming out. And if you have any questions about components, hit us up now. We'd love to talk about that. The way to mount tweeters, let's do that real quick. And then I want to talk about where you put the crossovers. So tweeters, flush mount, surface mount, brackets, all that stuff. How do you typically do it?
Well, you have to take a look at the given vehicle that you're going into. If there is an existing location that this is going to be able to go into, we might have, in some cases, in very few cases, unfortunately, there's a bracket where you can use a hole saw, cut a hole in the bracket, mount the tweeter into that, and then that bracket will screw down back in place. That's common dashboard type of mount. Sometimes you don't have an existing location at all, so you've got to line it up and figure out where you're going to put them exactly. Very often that's on the door panel. There'll be demos of that when you see the video. Basically using a hole saw to cut a hole into a door panel, and then you've got to figure out where your crossover is going to physically locate. When you're doing them on the door panels, the crossover itself, we try to locate that to preserve the life of this thing. Centrifugal force, the force of a door slamming, opening, closing your doors all the time, that's wear and tear on these boards inside these crossovers. So we try to always, anytime it's going to be in a door, we don't really put it up inside the door. We try to find a space in behind the door paneling between the door panel itself and the frame, the metal frame of the door, and we try to put it as far forward on the door as we can, because that shorter swing at the front
Less
end of the door
impact.
is less impact on the electronics. So we get this securely mounted to that door, and if you do it right, a few zip ties, a little bit of Tessa tape, possibly some double-sided sticky on the back, depending upon the physical aspects of your crossover. We might even take this back off, like this Maximo Ultra crossover here has mounting screw holes on this side, so we can take the bottom off of it. If I could get it to snap off. Oh, is it screwed together right now?
So if you've ever replaced
Yeah.
speakers before, you may have done it like two-way speakers or three-way. That's where your tweeter's just kind of built in. Usually those fit without much fuss because there's maybe some brackets and some harnesses. You take the old ones out, you put the new ones in, and you're pretty well done. With components, there's more to it. Clearly, Chris just talked about mounting that tweeter. You're going to have to find a place to mount your crossover if your component system comes with that. The big question is, why does somebody want to go through all of that? What is it worth it to get a set of components?
Oh my goodness, yeah. I mean, if you're into sound quality, and potentially high output from your speakers, then that's definitely something you're going to want to explore to install in your vehicle. It gives you better imaging. For example, the tweeter itself, if you're looking at it where it's going to end up on the door, usually it's up much higher, usually up above where the woofer will be. So this is like usually kind of down low in the door panel, and it's handling mid-ranges and to its capability, it'll play the bassier ranges of sound. But then the tweeter is really where you're getting your imaging from, your projection, where you're perceiving your voices and the
Mid-range,
highs.
high frequency, those very directional sounds.
Exactly. So having these positioned up higher in the door is much better, because in the case of a coax, you end up with the tweeter mounted coaxially. That's why they call it there, because it's literally mounted coaxially to the main woofer. And you've got this stuck on the front of it like that, and you put a two-way or maybe a three-way speaker in, and it's down low in your door panel, and so now your tweeters, where you're getting all that directional sound from, is blasting into the side of your kneecap.
Yep.
Or your
Yep.
calf down low. So it doesn't make for great sound. I mean, it's okay. It's better than the factory stuff.
So
you know,
tweeter's positioned up higher, giving you that better soundstage, raising and elevating that soundstage in the front
Yeah.
of your car. Tweeter positioning makes perfect sense.
Oh, yeah.
Why do I need that big crossover?
Well, the crossover is what separates the frequencies. This one makes the lower bassier sounds. This one makes the much, much higher frequencies. And this one cannot exist if it's trying to play what this one has to play. This will burn up. The tweeter will be gone. So
it
the
can't do bass.
crossover, exactly, cannot do bass. So the crossover is a passive method here. Inside this little box, there's capacitors, coils, resistors, a few different little items there, all designed and built together so that we can pump a signal in here from amplification, either out of our head unit or our separate amplifier, and then piping out from their own channels will be the high range for the tweeter and the mids and lows for the woofer. So it separates that out for you. Drawback to that is a loss of power. You do dissipate in heat about 30% of your rated power through a crossover like this.
So a typical coaxial or two-way speaker with the tweeter built in has some form of that, right? Usually a little
sure.
tiny capacitor kind of glued to the back of the speaker
Right.
to keep the tweeter from playing bass.
Exactly.
And that's kind of it, right?
Yeah.
So the crossover in a component system, usually more robust and better at directing the right frequencies to the right speakers.
Oh yeah, far better.
Do all component systems come with a big crossover like that has to be mounted somewhere?
No, they don't. You saw me pick this up.
I set you up. I
Yes,
knew what you were doing.
Yes, you did. This is much easier to use inline crossover. This comes with the speakers. Not all speakers come with an inline. A lot of them come with the box like this. But this inline crossover lets you literally attach this inline on the speaker wiring headed up to your tweeter, and this will protect the tweeter. And in that situation, what they do is the tweeter gets this connection, and it's not going to get any of the low frequencies. And then the woofer, whichever one is going with it, will either have an inductor on the back of it itself, and so that right there on the back of this guy, this coil, also known as a choke, an inductor, literally, that low pass filters this woofer. So the low pass filter for this guy is built right on, and so when you wire it up, you send the signal into this, you send a parallel signal into this through this crossover, and that protects this here, and this renders better sound quality because now this does not have to mechanically slough off the higher frequencies.
Yeah.
There's a term known as mechanical roll-off, and basically just because it can't vibrate that fast, this woofer won't make those sounds, but occasionally you can get colorations in the sound that are this thing mechanically rolling it off.
So sending high frequencies to a bigger speaker that is made to do low frequencies isn't going to damage it because it'll naturally just
Yeah, it
kind
won't
of
damage
not
it
play
at
them.
all, but it can
Sending low frequencies to a tweeter will damage the tweeter.
Fry
so
it.
you're basically protecting your tweeter as well as being more accurate about which speaker is playing which frequencies.
Exactly. These guys are working together as a system, right?
Yeah.
They're not coaxially mounted like a two-way or a three-way would be.
And for the record, this is an Alpine Type S component system. That's the one that came with this inline tweeter crossover.
Right. So that piece on the back there, the inductor combined with this capacitor and resistor in here, these guys combine to make a two-way system, and really excellent sound quality out of those.
So last consideration here, when choosing component speakers, that you can spend 100-ish, right around there. You can spend
Sure.
thousands of dollars.
Oh, yeah.
And how do you choose? Well, how do you know which component system is the right one? Now, I mean, I train the sales advisor, so I know how I train them to choose, but I'm curious from a more technical side of things, how do you choose? And to sort of go into that, are you cool with making an actual recommendation based on some limited info that we had from a customer?
Sure.
We had
sure.
a viewer, a YouTube channel follower. His name is Sumit Dugal. I hope I'm saying that right, Sumit. He posed a question to us just within the past couple days. Perfect amplifier for the Morel Tempo Ultra 602 components paired with Morel Tempo coaxial. So what it sounds like, and we're gonna have to connect some dots that Sumit did not connect for us.
Right. We're making some slight assumptions here in the system, but
Yeah.
if we've made our assumptions correctly, We do know the Morel Tempo 602s. We've got all the specs and everything on them. These are wonderful speakers, great choices. He posed the question and talking about the Morel Tempo coaxials. So we were assuming that they're also going to be the 6.5 size since the components were.
And that's what I've got here on my screen. So these are the Morel Tempo Ultra 602s Sumeet mentioned. So a complete component system, just like we were looking at here.
Right.
And if we go down and look at some specs, we can see that they are able to handle up to 120 watts of RMS power. Their sensitivity is rated at about 90 dB, and if we dig a little deeper, we'll see that they're 4 ohm impedance. So we need up to 120 watts at 4 ohms for the components. But he's also mentioning that he's looking at some Morel Tempo coaxials, which are those two-way speakers, probably his back speakers, right? So we don't have enough info to know exactly which model he has. So we're gonna assume.
Right, assuming they're the Tempo 602s, those Ultra Integras, I think they're rated for 120 as well.
Which is
Or
basically
actually 110.
It's basically the two-way version of that same component system, right? So
Right.
They cost a little less. They don't have the separate crossover. The tweeter's built in. So same exact speaker, doesn't handle quite as much power. That's the difference with that crossover, really.
Right.
So what's the perfect amplifier for a pair of these and a pair of the 602 components?
Well, it depends.
Ah.
So, are you going strictly for sound quality? How quiet is your vehicle? Okay, or do you also have to go for I need it as loud as I can get it because my car is noisy? Right, you've got to overcome road noise, wind noise, all this kind of thing. The inside of the car, the cabin, might be fairly noisy. I mean, this week, in the last couple of weeks, I've been in a diesel truck, and I've been in small coupes that were pretty quiet, that kind of thing. So it depends. So I get two answers for you. One, actually, you recommended that Morel MPS 4.400 at 70 by 4 RMS, and I think that's a very good recommendation. I also looked at.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. We've got 3 Morel car amplifiers. 2 of them would be perfect for this. One of them is a 4-channel, which is that 4400. You could also get a 5-channel if you're thinking about adding a sub. Then you've got that 5th channel to power that low end and get the bass. Morel also makes a sub amp, which is not really applicable to this system. But yeah,
no.
Either of these 2 amps would definitely get the job done.
They would both do a fantastic job.
Could we do more?
Yeah, I looked at going towards the high end on the power as well, and I looked for an amp that I thought would do a nice job with that. And based on the specs and the history, I'm going to go with the Alpine XA70F.
Yeah.
That has an 87 dB signal to noise ratio on it, which means it's very clean sounding. And at 120 by 4 RMS, it's going to be in the right power range for both sets of speakers. And we can tune it properly. We could take that amp and put it into a system where you're using these 2 sets of speakers. If the vehicle's noisier and you are going to want a little more power to overcome that noise, I'd go with the Alpine. If it's a really quiet vehicle, if you've got a Mercedes or a well-built Honda or something, like an Accord or whatever, and you cruise around and there's not that much cabin noise in it, you're mostly a street driver, then I would say that I'd go ahead and go with that 4.400 because we don't need to match maxed out power for the speakers. It's not something you have to do. As long as you get...
Just because you can handle 120 watts doesn't mean you have to have 120
Correct,
watts.
exactly. Just because it handles that doesn't mean you have to need that, right? Now, if you want to go for maximum output from the speakers that they're capable of cleanly, yeah, you match that number and get that. But if you are just going for sound quality and your car is relatively quiet, that 4.400 at 70 by 4 is in the sweet spot, the power band. Like people talk about tuning an engine and they describe, in the system where the power band of the engine produces best power. Well, speakers handle and perform best in a power band, in a range. You don't have to max them out, but you don't want to go too low either.
Yeah.
So you want to get somewhere in the neighborhood of 40-45% minimum in your amp, maybe 50% of their rated power, up to that 100 watts. And somewhere in the 70-75% range is really going to be like ideal. for
Yeah.
your power
So on
capability.
the upper end of their power range, somewhere in that neighborhood, you're going to get what you paid for on your speakers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But definitely don't go over, because if you do go over on the power rating and you apply more power to the speakers than they can actually literally are rated to handle, you end up with a situation where the manufacturer won't want to warranty your speakers for you because they're like, hey, we told you they handle 100 watts and you put 150 watts on them. You know,
That's
maybe
50% more power than they were designed to handle. That's a lot.
that is a
more
lot of
power.
extra power. Yes.
And you know, there's ways to deal with that. People that have been installing for a while might argue with you about.
Oh, we can fix it in
overpowering.
settings. Yeah,
Yeah.
we can totally fix it
Can
in
you
settings.
tune
but
an amp to sort of adjust for that?
Oh yeah, totally. It's a little deeper than we might want to go into today, but there are ways to tune the amp so that even if you do have a amp with a bit of extra power, you can tone it down in most cases.
Yeah.
So I'd have to have the literal equipment list and look at it and tell you yes or no, you can do that or you can't.
Got a couple comments coming in on YouTube. David Lewis says it's like, meaning talking about component speaker systems. It's almost like having a floor standing speaker in your car door with all the crossover components and such.
Yes,
Yeah,
very much so. Yeah,
those
because
separate
floor standing
crossovers-
gets your tweeter up higher.
You tweeter up higher, and inside a floor standing speaker will be a very robust crossover doing that job of splitting off those frequencies. So you're absolutely
yes.
right, David Lewis. David
one,
Rose. David Rose says, so a vehicle with a factory amp that has its own tweeter channel and a separate tweeter and woofer would work better, correct? Meaning an aftermarket separate tweeter and woofer would work better, presumably, than a two-way speaker. So the factory system comes with a tweeter and a woofer, separate amp. Should you replace the tweeter and the woofer, I think is what David Rose is asking.
Okay, well, it depends on where the crossover for the factory speakers is happening. A lot of the factory systems place a capacitor on the tweeter. They high-pass filter them, and they run them in parallel off the same channel coming to the woofer. So you have to look at the specific situation to decide what to do.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, the rule is always, 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 always use the crossover that is there to protect your aftermarket tweeters. The manufacturers won't warranty these if you don't use their crossover with them. So if you have a factory amplifier with a filtered output, you can run into some phasing issues because of that, so your sound quality might not be what you're looking for.
So what you're kind of doing is you're doubling up on your crossover, right?
Right.
The factory system is already taking the bass out of the music that's piped out to the tweeters.
Right.
And then when you install your new tweeters, you're following directions and installing another crossover. And
Right.
those working together sometimes produces weird results.
Sometimes, yeah, you'll get a weird sound quality issue out of it because of phase issues, because of the stacked crossovers. And in that case, then your best alternative really is to bypass that factory amplifier or use a DSP that can combine the channels back together to get you full range output, and use your own amplifier then to drive those speakers. You'll get a much better sound quality if that's what you're going for.
Yep.
Some folks, you know, you get lucky and you never notice any weirdness with it. You put the crossover in, stack it against the other one, and because they're pretty far apart in what range they cover, you've got your aftermarket protected and the factory crossover was maybe at a bit of a lower point. Then you can run into some gaps. So I try not to ever stack this crossover with an active one from the factory systems.
Yeah.
If I ever have to do it, I'll put the system in, I'll give a listen, I'll run some tone sweeps to make sure that it's actually reproducing the various tones that it's supposed to. And if it is, great. And if it's not, then I got to recommend, okay, you need to do something about this. You need an amp.
And like with so many things, it's all very case by case. Each
It
car
is.
is different. The speakers you want to put in will change this. The factory amplified system, an aftermarket amplifier, what radio is in the dash, all of that stuff needs to be taken into consideration.
Right.
And if you get the chance to deal with one of our Crutchfield advisors, either on the phone or over chat, they can help you figure out what is the best situation for your car. And if you have any questions or issues installing it, Chris and the tech support department can help in that regard, right?
Right. Our tech folks can all assist with taking a look at this and helping to make sure everything's gone. But, you know, the advisors do a great job, and generally speaking, we're not batting cleanup or anything behind them. We're just helping the people physically make their connections.
I mean, this can be complex stuff.
Figure out where to mount them, that kind of thing, get some recommendations. We have a great C support tool for our technicians where they can go live with the person through their cellular phone, the app on the phone. They point it at stuff in the car, and our guys can take a look, and we've got our research files internally where we've taken most of these vehicles apart anyway. We have like over 16,000 cars in our database. So they have access to all that live in real time while they're talking to you, and with our C-Support tool, they can take a look and make recommendations about where to go with. That's probably going to be a good spot there for you to mount that crossover, that kind of thing, given the same sorts of advice that we've been doling out today.
Chris, thank you so much for coming in, man. We did have a couple additional comments. David Lewis made a comment right as you were saying a DSP can help with the tweeter woofer thing.
Right.
He commented that a DSP could help. So you and David Lewis are on the same page.
David's a bright man. He knows his stuff.
Right on. So this is Chris from Tech. Thank you so much. I'm going to kick you out.
All right.
We're going to bring in our last special guest of the day, and we're going to be talking home stuff again. So we'll get these car speakers out of here. Who's coming in next? His name is Dave. Dave Delamere, Dave D. I still call him Niles because when he was a phone sales advisor hired back in 1996, 97, he sat like right behind me. And his phone name was Niles. I presume we had another David on the phone at the same time. So.
Actually had one in training. Hi, JR. Hi, everybody. Dig your show, man.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it's very
Appreciate
good.
it.
It's very good.
Thanks for coming on.
Absolutely.
And
Thanks
so
for
I wanted to talk to you on this, and I have a feeling you're going to be back in future episodes as well if you'll indulge us, because you do something on the regular with Crutchfield Advise. So in addition to your day job of writing about products, like on those product pages and explaining all the cool stuff they do, you set up demonstrations of our products.
Right.
So you have a lot of hands-on yourself, and you help others get more hands-on experience with products.
Exactly correct. It's called Demo Days. I started it about 6 years ago or so. And it just came from the fact that we had a lot of product coming through the doors. We had vendor trainings, and they would bring their products in, which is extremely helpful, but we had only a short period of time to experience them as advisors. And with my copywriting job, as it were, I had a little more opportunity to kind of find out what was going on with the products we had in-house. Our product research team does a wonderful job of researching all that gear, and I knew it was in the building, so how can we get this in front of our advisors and our techs, for that matter, so they can actually experience it and be educated about it and actually have discussions about it, which that last point is kind of surprising to me because there have been major discussions in every demos I've had. When products are there, we start talking about an array of things, and that starts blossoming into more Demo Days ideas.
You set up, one of my favorite ones you did was the Polk versus Klipsch. Which was a fantastic demo day because we got to sit there in a room and go back and forth on a set of Polks and a set of Klipsch. Everybody got to choose music to play. You had different music sources. And that's sort of a polarizing speaker choice. There's lots of Klipsch fans, there's lots of Polk fans, and they usually don't agree on which speaker sounds better.
They usually do not, yeah.
So good discussions.
That kind of arose from customers actually writing in, wanting to know which one's better. Well, it depends on what you're listening to, and it depends on the sources you're playing and all kinds of factors like that, and that's where the demos come in.
I'm a Klipsch fan. I have Klipsch speakers everywhere in my home. But there was a couple songs in that day that you played that had more of an acoustic feel, and I thought, actually the Polks are doing a little bit better in my opinion on these particular songs. In general, I'm still a Klipsch guy, but there's no doubt that the music choices make a difference, and that everybody's got opinions, and you're rarely wrong when it comes to speakers because it's what you hear.
And you were very vocal about your Klipschism, if you want to say that.
Klipschism.
when you came in.
That's a great word. I should have used that. We did a Klipsch one of these a few months ago.
Seeing your face when you preferred the Polks on a couple tracks was really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was fun.
We didn't do Klipsch or Polk this time. You had a demo days going last week, leading right up to Halloween. Monday was the last day.
That's right.
We got in there. I brought my iPhone and I filmed what you do as part of demo days. You guys haven't shown that clip yet, right? So they're going to roll the B-roll. This is you actually doing the demo days with we had about 4 or 5 people, a mix of sales and tech.
That's right.
and they got to get some hands-on. They got to see the front and the back and listen to some stuff. Can you talk about this particular demo day?
Sure. This was Q Acoustics. We had 2 pairs of speakers, the Active 200s, which are fairly new for us.
Those are the white ones in the video right now. Yep.
And they include, as part of our package, there's a hub, a wireless hub, which enables the speakers to be completely wireless aside from the power cable. So
They don't even wire from the hub to the speaker.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the black ones in the picture are our new M20 HD Bluetooth speakers, which are not live yet for us. Our merchandiser, Tommy, gave me a pair of those vendor samples to try out against them, and I think they're going to be a little brother to the white Active 200s.
Gotcha.
So
And what did people think? Did you
Varied
get some
opinion.
strong reactions?
I did, yeah. A lot of people thought they were fantastic for certain songs, kind of similar to that Polk Klipsch comparison that we did some time ago. But what I really love about demo days is that they can get behind the panel, they can take a good look at them, and there's a switch on the back for how you're going to place the speakers.
Yeah.
And these are powered, meaning they have their own amp built in. So somebody who had an uneven front end, if you will, for their audio listening would enjoy a switch that would enable them to put one speaker on a shelf and another one that's more freestanding, because the DSP inside will take care of those aspects. You mentioned earlier, I think, about proximity range or proximity
Effect, yeah, getting speakers closer to the wall.
That's exactly right. And when you flick the switch on one of the speakers, you can flick it a different way on another one, and that'll take effect when they're listening to the stereo that way. So the integrated stands, which are sold optional for these speakers, were really cool. They screwed right into the bottom, made a nice look and very stable. So yeah, they were digging on them.
These are also on sale at the moment.
Yeah, I noticed that too, and I don't think that was an accident. They wanted me to do a demo on that.
Look at that. So it's a $2,000 pair of speakers normally, on sale $500 off right now. And as I'm telling you that, we are live. If you're watching this a week from now or a month from now or any other time, I can't guarantee these prices are accurate anytime other than today, November 4th, 2021. But the price is pretty good because that is enough of a discount to basically get the speakers and the stands for that $2,000, right? So
Yep.
whereas normally that'd be a $2,500 kind of thing. So, and these stands not only look cool, but they also do an acoustic decoupling thing.
They do.
So
They
that
also
the-
have floor spikes if you got carpeting, or they have rubber stoppers you can put on the ends if you've got hardwood flooring, so it won't mar the floor. So either way, you can go on those, and they have a built-in wireless link, so you can stream essentially whatever service you like right to them.
Yeah, what did you have playing for us there in the demo days?
I had Tidal, and I had some of it was the Masters or MQA high-res streaming going, and basically that was going, I think, through Chromecast and through Apple AirPlay a couple times.
Yeah, and this does, it basically does all the wireless stuff.
Does it all, yeah.
Yeah.
So you could just set these up, plug them in, and you've got a system you're ready to play. Just need your phone.
Yep, doesn't matter which kind of phone, you're good to go either way.
Exactly.
Cool. So demo days gets you in front of our advisors, our tech support, the folks in creative that are needing to experience these products. That's awesome, and it will continue. And it's helped a lot, especially when the vendors are not able to get in here
Yeah, that's a
for
big-
actual in-house training right now.
Right.
Which we do hope to resume. in the
Yeah, I hope
fairly-
so.
you
Well,
know,
I
at
kind
some
of
point.
follow up with the trainings that we are getting online from our vendors, and
Yeah.
I try to show off that product soon after they've been here, so it's still fresh in people's minds.
Yeah, so in addition to finding out all about them from Q Acoustics, we actually get to hear them.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's awesome. We had something else to talk about.
Vintage gear.
Vintage gear.
Yeah.
How did this discussion, you sort of brought this up to our meeting the other day. How
I
did this
did.
come about?
A kind of a roundtable discussion about folks. I was reading an article, I can't remember the site, but they were talking about their legacy gear, old Pioneer and Marantz stereo receivers from the 70s.
Yeah.
And people were very passionate about talking about hanging on to that stuff and how do I go about enjoying the new technologies of the 2020s, which would be streaming services and things like that. Well, Crutchfield can certainly help you there, because if you've got a vintage stereo, vintage integrated amp, you've probably got RCAs or XLR inputs on the back. And the gear that we have that can incorporate the new technologies in digital music, no problem. The Blue Sound Node, for instance, or Node 2i,
Yeah.
is a streamer from NAD and Blue Sound that will enable you to stream, I think it's Apple AirPlay 2,
Right.
and other services available on board. And you can directly connect that via RCA to a vintage receiver, and suddenly there you are with your digital music. Also helpful if you have a collection of music that you've made digital, like on a portable hard drive. You can plug that into your ecosystem, if you will, on your Wi-Fi. This will allow you to access all that music through one portal, which would be the Blue Sound app.
So the Blue Sound node gives you access to the convenience of music available in the way music has become available just everywhere, right?
Everywhere.
So all of the streaming apps, I mean, just convenient as all get out.
Super.
But it doesn't necessarily fit with the thinking of someone who's just like, I like older gear, I like it analog, I want to listen to vinyl, I want to play tapes, I want to have my reel-to-reel going. Every now and then, though, that person might like to listen to some song that they don't have on vinyl.
Or discover new music
Or
that they never knew about.
music discovery, new bands. Maybe not every band is putting out vinyl.
Absolutely.
Or CDs even. A lot of bands don't even bother to print CDs. And you can only find them either on their website or on Spotify or Tidal or wherever you get your streaming music. So wouldn't it be nice to every now and then pipe in new, very convenient music into your older gear?
Absolutely, and you know there are ways to clean up the older gear too, meaning you can hook other things to it to help your audio signal be improved. So if you're going to hook up this Blue Sound node, step up a pair of RCA cables from AudioQuest, for instance, and that will help you pass a better signal to that vintage receiver. You may be surprised what you get out of it.
Cables can make a difference, especially when we're talking analog stuff. Those really good quality cables, plenty of copper in there, good insulation, good gold-plated connectors on the end. That can make a difference versus using the El Cheapo RCAs that come with your stuff.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
It's tempting, I know, but there is a difference.
So this Blue Sound node is sort of on the upper end of like, it's a really good quality piece. Like you shouldn't feel like you're cheaping out just because you're going new.
Right.
Right? It's this is a high quality stuff. It probably has a built-in D to A converter that's really above average.
I would agree. Yeah.
What if you want to just pipe in music from a computer or something like that?
That's where you probably want to talk about a DAC, a digital analog converter, and that's represented here by the Cambridge piece, the 200M. And basically what you can do with that is connect that to your computer's USB port. Sometimes you have to download a driver for that, sometimes you don't. And you basically can play music through your computer directly to your system using the outputs on that DAC.
So it does more than just the computer stuff, but if I'm using a computer and I'm spending some time downloading some high-res music tracks
Yep.
from the internet, ripping vinyl into a computer, ripping CDs, creating my high-res music tracks, I want them to not just be converted from digital analog with the D-to-A converter in my computer.
Right.
Because that
You do
one
not want
sucks.
that. Yeah, it's not very good.
No, you want a separate thing that does that. Its job in life is to do that. And then once it's converted to analog, send it out to your vintage gear.
Sure. And if you want to take it a step further, you can also use this DAC for something like a CD transport. Let's say you've got a whole collection of CDs you want to step
Yeah.
up, and maybe your CD player's giving up the ghost. Now's the time you can use this DAC, get a CD transport, which has no built-in DAC, and feed it right through this guy.
Yeah, that's the difference. We should clarify, by the way. A CD player and a CD transport are two different things.
Two different
A
animals.
CD players, those have been around for 30 years now, right? 40 years, whatever it's been. They'll play your CDs, you pipe it out to any stereo that's existed forever, you're good to go. A CD transport is next level up.
I would say so, because they've got components built in that are made specifically for just getting the purest signal out of that CD.
Its specialty is the moving parts.
That's its specialty.
The laser that moves, the thing that spindle that spins your disc, it holds it tight. It is a pro at playing and reading the disc, but it does not know how to convert it from digital to analog. That's the part that's in a separate box,
Exactly.
like the DAC Magic 200M or very many other D-to-A converters.
Right. That's
So,
exactly right.
And that's a sign. Like if you're into that older legacy gear, you might like the idea that each box does its own job and not try to do every job.
Right. Also, more chance, or I should say less chance for electronic interference from other components. Sometimes when they try to stick too many things in one box, you got some crosstalk and some things can be taken away from the purest audio signal. So
Yeah.
that's what a lot of the purists like the separate boxes to have each feature or function done that way.
Cool. Anything else?
As far as legacy gear goes, I would just recommend taking a look. I know a lot of older receivers didn't allow you to really unplug the power cable. A lot of them are integrated into the box.
Mm-hmm.
If they are able to unplug it, change the power cord. I've heard a whopping difference to aftermarket power cords versus the stock cord that would come with any piece of audio gear like that. And if you can't change that power cord, you look into a line conditioner. If you've had one for years, it's probably starting to go. It's probably seen a couple of potential spikes. And you may want to think about stepping up and even getting some more outlets.
Clean up the power coming out of your wall. Make sure your gear has all the juice it needs to do what it does. Yeah, good stuff, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for the tips.
Absolutely.
Thanks for doing demo days.
You're very welcome.
What's next up? Do you know what's next for demo days?
It's going to be a mishmash stereo setup with Parasound.
Mishmash? Is this a new brand?
No, I wish.
Mishmash Audio.
I like it. Mishmash. I've got
Idea
Parasound integrated amp. I've got a Wharfdale speakers, a Golden Ear. I had to make sure I didn't say Golden Eye. Golden Ear
You
powered.
just said Golden Eye.
Powered subwoofer, and I forgot the last component. Maybe a Sony car stereo, maybe a dual demo, if you will.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
The new Sony Mobile ES.
Yeah, the 9500.
Yeah.
With the floating screen.
Uh-huh.
That
We
thing looks
did that
gorgeous.
last in the
Oh,
Crutchfield
we're
Live.
gonna-
People
we're gonna
are
show that off
excited
for
about that.
advisors. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks so much for joining us, Dave.
Absolutely.
I'm going to wrap this show up. You can sit there or leave. It
I'll
doesn't
stay.
matter to me. I'm going to show some deals. You might like these deals. This is it. We're almost done. We're in the home stretch. I see David Lewis said, "Gotta go." Thanks for Crutchfield and JR. So we lasted longer than him. Ha! We win. He blinked first. But I want to show you guys some deals. And I also want to show you how to find some deals. I mean, we're coming up on Thanksgiving week, Black Friday, and there's plenty of stuff that's on pretty good sales. And you can see all of it easily, right? So here's one way to do it. If you go to, like, say, home audio, over on the right, there is an area called specials.
Hey,
See what we did there?
I did see that.
If you go here, you can see all the specials. I'm going to zero in on a couple very specific ones. First off, Kef. You familiar with Kef, David?
I am familiar with Kevin. Excuse me for a moment.
Sure. Bye, David. Oh. Cool. What's going on? Oh, I see what you're doing. Can you see what? Yeah, David's. Do your Vanna White. That is the Kef Q150s on display here in our video studio. Just so happened that we have them in the background there.
By the way, my parents have a set. Hi, Mom and Dad. My parents have a
Nice.
set of Q150s and absolutely love them. Got them paired up with a Marantz CD receiver, the MCR 602.
Heck yeah.
It's beautiful.
That's a $600 pair of speakers normally.
Yeah.
Right now, $349.99. That's $250 off. I don't know the end date on that deal. It could end tomorrow, but it is the price today for sure. And it's available in 2 different colors. Pretty good deal going on with the Kef Q150s. So I would say act fast.
Make a move.
They may not be around
Yep.
still on Black Friday. Also, if you've done what I've done here, not only do you have the Q150s, but there's a ton of specials on Kef speakers right now, the R series. So there's bookshelf speakers, there's center channels, there's floor standing speakers, multiple colors. They look gorgeous. And big money off, like $500 off, $450 off, $250. These are not like, little tiny discounts. That's why I wanted to highlight these guys. $600 off each floor standing. That's a $1,200 off for a pair of floor standing speakers.
Outstanding.
So that's a pretty big deal. If you're interested in some home stuff, go for it.
For like home theater for Dune.
Hey, that's an idea. Huffy said, Eric said he was talking about replacing his DefTech speakers here pretty soon. So,
Bingo.
Yeah, I like it. All right, I got 3 more deals I want to show off. One of them is from Klipsch. I almost, you're going to think I'm doing this because I'm a Klipsch fanboy. I'm not. But they've got some Klipsch powered speakers, and they are, let's see here. I thought they were good. Let me resort that. There we go. Nope. There we go. R51Ms. One pair, one of these is $180 off, $360 normally. And the price on them, or the deal, ends in a few days, November 7th. So that's Sunday. You do have to act fast on the R51Ms. Their little brothers, the R41Ms, are $120 off right now. So that one ends 11/7. Act quickly on that one.
So good. Those speakers are so good.
They're so good. So many employees have purchased
Yes.
those. Lots
Big
of
time.
us have those
Yeah,
at home.
absolutely.
Because they rock. I want to switch gears. One last deal for you. in the world of car audio is Infinity. Has another deal. I believe there's an end date on this one as well of this Sunday. So now you know before it's over that Infinity 25% off select Infinity amps and subs. So if you look over on the right here, you'll see some of these. The sale ends 11/7. 25% off, and this is a lot of really great stuff. This BassLink is a sweet little powered sub, standalone component drivers, Infinity amplifiers. All of these are pretty good discount, and the discount ends soon. So good today while we're live, good through the weekend. So Sunday, November 7th, these deals go away.
Yep. Somebody's looking for some efficient speakers. Boy, you can't beat Infinity Reference and Kappa.
Yeah. Lots of deals going on. It's that time of year. Prices go up, prices go down. Supply and demand is all over the place.
All of it.
The holidays, the pandemic, the supply chain issues. Long story short, if you see what you want, buy it. We do guarantee our prices for 60 days. So if it goes on sale after you purchased it within that 2-month time period, give us a call. We'll give you the difference. You got to call us while it's on sale. But yeah, we've got your back on that.
Definitely.
Yeah, no doubt. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I think we're going to wrap it up. I see no more comments. David Lewis finally had to go. Charles Fontaine says, Crutchfield for life. So there you go.
good.
This is yeah, we're going to do this again. Episode number 3 coming in a few weeks, the Monday before Thanksgiving. That's the November 22nd.
Probably have some deals that day.
Yeah, we'll probably have some deals to talk about. Might be deal heavy that time.
Could be.
We're not going to talk about Dune for 45 minutes, I can tell you that.
Aww.
Thank you to Eric for coming in and for joining me at the movies a couple times this week, letting me crash his pad yesterday to watch the movie at his house. Thanks for Chris for coming in and talking tech support and component speakers. Thanks to all the video team, Alexis, and everybody watching. This is one of the most fun parts of my job. Thanks for being here, Dave.
Thank you.
Well, I think we're over and out. See you
See
next
everybody.
time.
Find out where we've been. I guess it's all the same. Living in a dream. It's 10 o'clock in the morning now. There's no time left for play. I guess it doesn't matter though. We never play much anyway. I guess it's time to go. To find out where we've been. I guess it's all